Hello again, another quick video update on Ether this time. Obviously someone's chosen this minute to yowl right outside my window. Okay, so obviously had a decent move on Ether last week with a bit of confluence. We created a 2-week demand, which we literally just tapped off the top of, which I unfortunately missed. Was looking for shorts in obviously this possible rejection area if we were going to make a lower high, but conscious we were holding this weekly demand, which became deep inside from where my alert originally was, but still held. Was rather awkward. I made a triple bottom here, didn't take out the lows for any decent entry there, rejected off the VWAP here, but then consolidated for the bigger move. And I thought we'd get a bigger reaction off this, but we didn't. And then, like I say, created that 2-week demand for that big push. Still in monthly supply here, so I still want to look for shorts, but like Bitcoin, obviously we need some sign of weakness and of the bears stepping in, which we haven't yet had. Well, we had initially, but then didn't break demand, and we need to see more on the lower time frames. Next levels of interest are kind of just coming in now, so we've got a monthly high, monthly swing high, or actually it's probably the 2022 high. No, not the 2022 high, but a monthly swing high at 29.68, so you can look for a possible swing failure there. 3,000 obviously is the like psychological level, and that coincides with 78 fib of the local wave, just at this last down move, and then we're still not in an ideal spot from the bigger fib. On the 70, it'll be around the 70 from the bigger fib from the top on the log scale. But yeah, it's just a bit sort of choppy and messy now. Like again, like Bitcoin, it's not that clear on levels up here, and we're really just sort of guessing where the top may come in and where to take profits at least, and then looking for those lower time frame reactions to think about stepping into shorts. So yeah, that monthly level, monthly swing high there, another monthly level just above it at 3,000, and then this 3-day supply would be the next decent supply to look at, but still there's a lot of chop in here. There's a 3-day and another 3-day and another 3-day all stacked on top of each other. So those would be the next levels of interest for a possible correction, if not rejection, and then following that probably looking a lot higher if we get continuation. The channel is interesting because on the linear scale you can see we've got this channel, the lows, and that did reject at the previous high and now has come out over the top of it, and like I don't love diagonals, but has held that as support. So again, an interesting thing to watch, and probably more on the short side than the long side, that if we come back down into that channel, perhaps test this and then reject the daily supply, reject this daily if it flips from a currently a demand to a supply, potentially look for shorts, but that's, you know, if and when that happens. And then down here, 2-week and through, and no, I don't think it's a 3-week. It's a 2-week demand, which, like I say, we just tapped off the top, but we didn't on any of the other charts, so the CME and the Korean charts. And then there's a 3-day a bit deeper inside that, which would be where I'd be looking for possible longs, again around the golden fib zone from that last up move, or at least from right from the bottom here, or let me just flip the higher one, which I thought I had, but apparently I don't. Yeah, again, possibly off the, you know, if it was being very aggressive, could still come off this 2-week at the top again, but I would look, if we do start to look at that, I'll look in more detail and do another update, and find out like where CME is in comparison. So yeah, just looking towards the 3Ks for possibility of rejection on this, and you can look for longs on this daily if you want. I need to have a little bit more of a think about that. Like I'm still, like I say, conscious that we're in this monthly supply, so I don't want to be like ridiculously bullish in monthly supply, although we do have obviously ETH news coming in now, which could start pushing this now to sort of catch up a bit with Bitcoin. One thing continuing to be of interest to me, so if you've been following me, I'll just clean this up a bit so you can see a bit better. If you followed my previous updates, like I was sort of watching this and possibly too low time frame, and I was a little early in comparison. There's a consolidation here in comparison to what happened back here after this the second breakdown in 2019, and just hide my drawings for a minute so you can see. So obviously this is significantly smaller than this, but the whole thing is significantly smaller. But I do think it's interesting, we are still making a very similar pattern here. So yes, we've taken stops from the lows here, which we hadn't there. But you know, I always wanted this ETH BTC pair, you know, and perhaps with the ETFs I'm just clutching at straws, but you know, I always wanted this down in this monthly. I'm not sure the cost, and there is a cost a bit higher as well. So initially down in this monthly zone, like this is not an area that I would want to bid, rightly or wrongly, but I think it's kind of interesting. So just like, rather than being uber bullish on Ether, just be a bit conscious that this pattern could play out similar to 2019. So obviously this is a deeper drop that we had in 2019, and this is a more corrective drop this year, so that could be more promising for Ether. But just while we're being bullish on Ether, I want to be conscious that this is very well matched, really. So if this comes up into this daily supply and rejects here, then that could be not good for Ether, and also could be a good indicator of when the top is in for Ether. So yeah, keep an eye on when and if it gets up here, and we're still fighting with a local 12-hour supply, but obviously it's looking likely it's going to get through that. I haven't updated properly on this, so have we got, yeah, so we've got a new weekly demand in there, just add that in. So we've got a new weekly demand in here anyway, so potentially I would look for that to hold. Take out, I think it was on a 5-day or something above that. But yeah, so potentially look for another rejection in here to come back to there, to take it up to here, and then we just see what happens here. Is it going to break through this supply, or is it going to reject there and then tumble back down as 2019 did? But the pattern isn't, you know, so when we swing fail, or when we take stops, we need the break of local structure, which we have, kind of, but really the last down move is this, and this is just a mess of retracement within that last down move. So until we break here, we can't really be that bullish, and we do have a little monthly supply up there. So yes, obviously it can still go higher, it can still do what it likes, yeah, I'm just conscious that this pattern is broadening wedge similar to 2019, and isn't necessarily as bullish as everybody may think. Could be wrong, but something to be aware of. And so yeah, CME I think doesn't give us much more. It's similar levels in the high 2000, low 3000s for where it could reject on the CME chart. So at least that's like decently well aligned with the US dollar chart. Weekly level also a little bit higher at 3150. The Korean pair still pushing, still at monthly supply though, but still a little relatively higher, like the BTC Korea pair. But yeah, so again, bullish till proven otherwise. Yeah, for shorts, you're looking for this to break down, potentially get a bounce off here, then see if it flips into supply here. Or if we get any reaction a little bit higher for longs, like I say, that daily demand there, and potentially if we get a bigger drop into around the mid to low 23s from here sort of downwards, we would want to see that hold for another push up. But like I said, I'm not massively liking this pattern. Like I was sort of looking back at the chart to see if we've ever had a similar pattern to this before, and the same with Bitcoin, where it's kind of broken and then taken off, and yeah, I don't love it. Volumes are very low on all the traditional exchanges compared to previously. However, we don't know how much OTC buying is going on, and that's always been my difficulty with looking at volumes. Is that, yes, we know obviously some's happening on Coinbase for the ETFs. I know, you know, is all of it happening there? I'm not really sure. Maybe I should be able to find that out somehow. But volumes in general are low. So how long this is going to be sustainable, I'm not really sure. But obviously at some stage we're going to get a bigger correction. So don't be the person that's sort of sitting there buying the top. And somebody tried to promote themselves on my YouTube video yesterday where I was just talking about Bitcoin, but one of those sort of fake what do you call them? Fake comments, just saying, you know, that we should consider the ETFs, etc., and then follow so and so to get up to date news and all that sort of stuff. But it was an interesting comment that was made about the ETFs, you know, and I agree, like it is something to be wary of. So the ETFs, yes, they're all buying, you know, at these prices, not so much on Ether, but on Bitcoin, or maybe they're buying on Ether as well, I don't know. But are they just price insensitive? Are they just stupid? You know, are they just retail traders under the guise of, you know, buying ETFs? Or are they just very price insensitive and they're happy just to DCA more if it goes down, and they don't really care what price they're buying at because they're going to hold indefinitely anyway? But I don't think, like, for me, ETFs buying here doesn't necessarily mean it's just going to go up from here, and absolutely not really. You know, we saw Michael Saylor and Elon Musk quite happily buying, you know, in this area on Bitcoin, you know, and then holding through large drawdowns and then just buying more. So there's no reason that these ETF investors aren't going to do the same. Yeah, so don't think that's the be all and end all, but we do have to wait for that ETF buying to die off before we see a drop. Let me see if we made a CME gap here today. I'm assuming we did. I haven't marked that out yet. Yeah, so CME obviously made a gap. So obviously I expect normally this would be filled down to the base of this 2.8 on the CME chart. Which would just coincide with the test of the daily demand in here, so that certainly wouldn't be surprising. Yep, so not much more to add on Ether, just looking for those levels up there and potential bounce on the daily here and on the weekly if we do get a bigger drop. If you're trading the ETH BTC pair, we're looking probably for this zone to break either now or following a retest of daily or weekly demand below, and then we'll be looking for the rejection daily up here, which may then coincide with a wholesale market reversal. I think that's about it. But again, being very conscious on Ether that if, you know, it gets the ETF news, which I think, I don't know, was it March or May? I'm not sure, but it could be incoming in the next couple of months anyway, and that could then see the run that we've had on Bitcoin or the blow off top. Hope that's helpful, and let me know if you have any questions in chat.